What is up, YouTube? I am Broken Orbit and I am back with another world tour. I've been building in this world a little over a year now and I'm excited to show off everything I've been working on. Full disclosure, this is a creative copy of my survival world, but everything you're about to see has been done in survival. Let's get this kicked off with my starter house that you see behind me here. Alright, through the front door, you have my enchanting setup, a kitchen, and an early game AFK spot that never gets used anymore, a clock, and something else I really like to do in my builds is hang signs for when they're completed. So you can see that this one was completed in August of last year, and the seed was created on July 10th. Popping out this door, you enter a little courtyard with a pup sitting by the fire and a horse and stables. It was a little oversight on my part while building this that there's no exterior door to this place that a horse could fit through unless you walked them through the kitchen. So yeah, over here is a little balcony area that I fly in and out of to get to my nether portal, which is right here. I haven't built too much in the nether. I have a Froglight farm and a gold farm that gives me a lot of XP that I use to repair my armor and tools. I'll pop the tutorial for the one I use in the description below. But moving on, upstairs I have a little bedroom that never gets used. And through this door is a closet with a ladder that leads up to the attic, where I'm temporarily holding my first diamond, my first pickaxes, some retired bows, the date in which I beat the first dragon, the date in which I beat the first wither, and most importantly, my maps. So everything you see on this one is to date after a year. And this is how it started. Over here is the first iron armor that I wore. And up this ladder is the dragon egg. And it has a view over everything I'm building. Next, I'll show you the storage room. Alright guys, so down these steps, you'll pass my furnace room. These are still the only 3 furnaces that I use. And my ore blocks. I really try to stay as organized as possible. So I have auto-sorted all the building blocks that I mainly use. So I have the stone along this side, the sand, the gravel, the dirt, and the grass on this side. Over here I have all the wood types, and the muds, and the saplings. On either end I have barrel sections that hold all the cut stones and some of the new blocks like the tuff. On that side I have all the wood cut blocks, the leaves, the vegetation, the moss, and the flowers. Down here is a newly built floor. It's not actually 100 complete yet. It has the mob drops, the terracottas, the concrete powders, and the stained glass. Back up here, I wanted to make sure that I had a way to fly in and out of my storage room, because I feel like it saves a lot of time than having to go through a structure, down a ladder, or downstairs, or whatever. But I do admit that some of the deaths in this world have come from me clipping this pillar, or clipping up here, or even clipping the tiny edge of the carpet and dying from it. But overall, I still feel like it's more suitable for the way I play. Next, let's move on to the Great Wall and the Gatehouse. I think this build turned out fantastic. It's probably in my top 2. It doesn't have an interior at the moment, but I do have some things planned, like a barracks, a war room, an armory, supply closets, that kind of stuff. I just think it's really, really cool. Going through the gate, we have some of the dogs that were released in 1.21. We have a staircase that leads up the back, a little rampart section. I believe that's what it's called. 2 stables and a little tack room through there. On this side, we have a storage depot. Has a little wagon, some job blocks. And up above, there's a little winch dealing with some skulk. And it's got some storage. On the side here, there's a little shrine. When I was building this, I had the singular terracotta blocks, the data pack or the resource pack. But I think with the update, that's no longer installed. So that's why it looks a little funny. But overall, this is a fun little build. Heading out of the gate, we'll head into the farmland. I'm just gonna fly to get there quicker. You'll pass this custom pond and wooden bridge. And that brings you to this farmhouse with a grain silo. And it has a few bees outside of it. Inside, there actually is an interior. When I started this world, I was going to challenge myself to do interiors in all of my builds, but admittedly, that didn't happen, and very few of them actually do. But in here we have a bed, which I occasionally do sleep in, and an attic with cobwebs and chests. Further down the road, we're going to come to a crossroads where I have built a custom lake. Alright, I'll pop into FreeCam for this next piece, and we'll get a closer look at the custom lake. At its center is a monolith, and over to the side is a waterfall with a custom cave underneath. On the back side here is another waterfall dropping down into this canyon with custom sides and a bunch of boulders. The river isn't complete yet, but eventually it will connect to this water source, and then that will have to be dug out to connect to the ocean beyond. Over there is my iron farm, which is currently broken, but back over here now is the custom mountain that I've built. Well, partially custom anyway. This entire peak is custom. This ridge is custom. This peak and the larger peak is all custom. Custom trees throughout. A little cottage. This path will be a custom cave network that will wrap around and eventually pop out right there, and that will lead off to spawn, which is right where that glowstone or Froglight is. The back of this mountain is complete except for this peak, the largest peak, but I'll get to that eventually. Yeah. But before moving on to the next build, I wanted to do a before and after of this area because I believe out of everything I've built, it's seen the biggest transformation. Alright, moving on now into an area that I'm just now starting to develop is one of my newest builds, if not the newest build. It's a manual tree farm meant to look like a Stonehenge ceremonial site. It's pretty self-explanatory. You plant a tree in the middle here, and then you can climb up the back of this column, jump off on top, and cut your tree down from there. Any missed blocks or leaves or saplings are collected with the system underneath and deposited into this chest. Moving on up the hill here, past the crop fields, is my windmill. Inside the windmill is my bee farm and nothing else. It gives me too much honeycomb, so I don't go to it very often. Over there is my moss farm. That will need to be covered in a build eventually. And right here is my current project that I'm building. This entire area, as you can see by the moss, is a snowy slopes biome or some type of snow biome. And I'm slowly converting it so that the snow doesn't show. At the center here will be another windmill. Yeah, let's move on to the city over there. Okay, here we are in the city. After creating the starter castle, this is the first area that I started to build up. The tavern behind me here was my second build, and it currently holds my villager breeder and my trading hall. So let's go check it out. Oh, my horse got loose. There's not much of an interior. Like I haven't finished anything in there. But up here is the breeder. They drop down into here. And to get down into the hall, drop down here. And here we are. I have almost every trade that I want or need. I'll touch on that hallway in a little bit. I have my farmers, the masons, and then through here, it's not completed yet. Are my iron trade villagers. It's where I trade all my iron with those three. My clerics. Yeah. back outside, this is the third building, or buildings, that I built. This one on the right is zombies tore the doors down, but if you drop down here, it is my auto crop farms. Every level has a different crop. And to get back up, but going down, if you go down 2 levels, you can go down this hallway, and here I have my bamboo farm, my sugarcane farm, and my pumpkin and melon farms. I rarely see this stacking type pumpkin and melon farm, but it works pretty well. Bone meal farm, and then up here is where you pop out, and I can easily trade the melons and pumpkins to the farmers here. Yeah. Okay, back up on top, we'll head into this building. It is currently only a temporary way down into a giant cave system that's below the mountain. I'm currently working on mining out all these thin layers that create the cave. So once it's mined out, I think it could be like a cool dwarven area. But that's a long, long ways away. Yeah. I'll head back now. Back up top, we'll go into this third building, which only houses netherwort. The fourth building on the end is my cactus farm. It produces way more cactus than I'll ever need. And upstairs is a door that leads to more netherwort. On the back here is a balcony that will eventually overlook the start of the castle, which will be up there. Back out front, there is no interiors to these 3 buildings, but I'll give you a closer look. I call this one the wagon shop because a maker is building this wagon and its wheel has fallen off. And it's building a little one back here. And yeah. I call this one the merchant's house because all of these crates and barrels out front. It's probably one of my favorite builds. This small house is currently only for vines. If I ever need to make cobble or mossy stuff, that's where I go. This build down here is a shrine that I actually built twice. I originally built it complete, and then I went back through and corrupted it using all these red nether bricks. Inside of it is, you could call it a mob museum, but I'm collecting some of the holiday mobs and any mob wearing full sets of armor. I only have 2 at the moment, but I'm sure I'll find more eventually. Alright, I think that's everything except for the wool farm, so let's head that way now. Here we are at the wool farm, or as I like to call it, the wool fortress. It is probably my most requested build to have a tutorial done. I never planned to do a tutorial, so if I'm going to do one, I have to go back and study the schematic and break it apart and remember what I did. But I'll give you guys a better look at it here before hopping inside. It's a very symmetrical build that turned out very successful. Hopping inside, I wanted to have an explosion of color since we're dealing with wool, all the different colors. So I used a lot of stained glass, banners, and the wool itself. There's storage along the back if I ever fill up these. To get upstairs, you take these ladders on either side. And you could theoretically put whatever you want here. I put a enchanting setup for no reason at all. On this side, I put a little banner making station or something. I don't know. Going to the 3rd floor. It's just a way to overlook everything. So yeah, you can go back up the ladder, and instead of going straight, you can pop out onto these little pieces. Yeah. There are, of course, other builds that I haven't shown you today. There is a creeper farm over a nearby ocean that was designed by Wattles, and the gold farm in the nether that was designed by SaminUP. I'll link those tutorials in the description below, and I'm also currently draining an ocean monument by hand. But that's going to have to do it for this world tour. If you like what you've seen and want to see more, consider subscribing, or if you want to leave any comments or questions, leave them below. Consider following me on Instagram. It's where I'm the most active. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.